On the show tonight is how prepared is Anambra State, security agencies, residents, and indeed the State Electoral Commission ahead of the local government election tomorrow. Deputy National Youth Leader Ohaneze Indigbo Youth Wing Worldwide Jones Owonsonya is my guest on the show this evening. Anambra is set to hold its first local government election in 10 years, and we'd like to find out what the mood is like in Awka, the state capital, ahead of this exercise. We're working on connecting with him. Hopefully we can do that before the end of the show. How enthusiastic are the people? The previous attempts, you recall, previous attempts were made to conduct the local government elections, but these attempts were frustrated by political intrigues. We saw a lot of court actions in this regard, and there were also loud threats of violence by some interested parties. In 2004, for instance, we saw hoodlums burn and destroy electoral materials when the Anambra Electoral Commission had gone far into the exercise. There are questions around how much progress the state has made this time to resolve these challenges. According to Chairman of ANSIEC, some disgruntled elements are threatening to scuttle the elections scheduled for 5th of October, and we're hearing that there are plans to ensure that all goes smoothly. The Ohaneze Indigbo, for instance, has been calling for a peaceful and credible poll, and we're finding out exactly what measures have been put in place to ensure security and credibility. The interesting angle to all of this is that the opposition parties have raised concerns about the composition of the current ANSIEC board, claiming that due process wasn't followed as enshrined in the Electoral Act of 2022. The three main opposition parties, we understand, have now shunned political campaigns leading to this exercise, and we're going to get to the meat of that very shortly. Deputy National Youth Leader Ohaneze Indigbo Youth Wing, Jones Owonsonya, joins me live from Awka. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Jones, on the program. Walk us through what you perceive to be the mood amongst electorate in Awka for the first local government election in that state in the past 10 years. Mr. Jones, I'm asking how enthusiastic the people are ahead of the exercise tomorrow.
Hello?
Mr. Jones, welcome on the program. Can you hear me?
Yeah, with you.
Oh, awesome. I'm asking how enthusiastic the stakeholders are ahead of the election tomorrow. It's the first local government election in Anambra in about 10 years.
Well, I can assure you that the Ohaneze Indigbo Youth Wing, under the leadership of Mazi Chukwuma is fully on ground in Anambra State to monitor the local government election, which is holding tomorrow. And so far, in our situation room, we are getting good signs that the election will be very successful and will be credible. We are seeing the security agencies doing their best to ensure orderliness, and the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission is also not failing our expectations of them, as they are giving every party that is participating in the election fair playing ground. We expect that the election will turn out a very successful one tomorrow.
We hear that the main opposition parties seem to have shunned any political campaigns ahead of this exercise. How much impact do you see that have on the integrity of the electoral process?
Hello?
What impact do you think that will have on the integrity of the exercise tomorrow?
Hello? I think network is not very good here. Hello?
Mr. Jones, I'm asking how the boycott of this election by main political parties will impact on the integrity of the exercise and its credibility tomorrow.
No, this is very
Well, we probably will have to talk to Mr. Jones subsequently, but you recall that the move to hold this particular election did not materialize until the Supreme Court's landmark judgment, that's in June earlier this year, that reaffirmed the financial autonomy of local governments in the country. And whether or not independence is complete, if the process of electing local government chair isn't considered credible. Oftentimes we've seen situations where these elections are conducted, the ruling party in the state seem to have all of the seats, elected in their favor, most times 100%, and how that impacts on the independence that has been won in the court is also a conversation we must have moving forward. Some have suggested that perhaps the Independent National Electoral Commission should handle elections at this level. Already in Anambra, we understand that a tribunal has been opened for people who have concerns about the conduct of this exercise to seek redress. Now, the court, among other things, had ordered that all federal accruers to the councils be remitted directly to them, putting paid to the much abused state local government joint account committee. And what it means also is that the Apex Court has ruled now that only local governments under the leadership of democratically elected officials will now be eligible to receive monthly federal allocation. And that's why it seems all of the states now have to comply, because the resources wouldn't get to them if they don't hold this election. We're looking forward to see how NGOs, CSOs, and private organizations will also hold these institutions of government accountable. The Supreme Court judgment isn't anything new. It is, a recap of what we've heard over the years, but it's a loud statement that governors seem to be paying attention to, and we are hoping that true independence will get to the grassroots and that this will indeed impact on the quality of life of Nigerians. Just yesterday, the House of Reps also passed for second reading a bill to create Abia State from the southeast region. There are thoughts about how this would impact on the people of the southwest, particularly young people, in terms of economic opportunities, political representation, and cultural identity. We'll see how that plays out, both in both houses of the National Assembly, and indeed how it will also impact on the current geopolitical constitution of the country. I understand that Mr. Jones is back. Hopefully we can get your thoughts on some of the developments ahead of this election. I was asking you earlier about the fact that some opposition parties seem to have boycotted campaigns ahead of this exercise, and how you think it will impact on the credibility of the election tomorrow.
The elections are competitions. If while Ohanes Ndigbo is a non-partisan but political organization, we may not be able to speak for any political party, but if there are political parties that boycotted the election, that's very unfortunate. We would have hoped that all political parties participated. But I do not think it is going to take anything away from the credibility of the election, because the election processes were announced and duly advertised. And every political party, I believe, was given an opportunity to stake their claim, to show their readiness to take part in the election. So if any political party decides not to participate, well, I may assume that such political party does not feel it stood a chance in the election, and maybe wants to save its resources for some other time.
Mr. Jones, their claim and their concern...
Oka and across Anambra State today,
yes.
Because I can assure you that across the 21 local government areas in Anambra State, our members and our leaders are duly deployed, and they are giving us good reports about the preparedness of the ANSEC to conduct a free, fair, and...
I hear you clearly, Mr. Jones. The claims and the concerns of these parties have been that due process wasn't followed in the composition of the ANSEC board. as enshrined in the Electoral Act of 2022. Do you consider that claim credible?
As I told you earlier, there are some things I may not be able to respond to because I am speaking for Haneze. I am not speaking for any of the political parties involved in the election. Haneze Ndibo is a non-partisan organization. So if they say that the processes do not conform to Electoral Act, I want to know which of the Electoral Acts, because I know that the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission is independent of INEC, and they have their own laws on how elections, local government elections like this one should be conducted. If I do not think that ANSEC will be going against the law that set it up, but if it does, I will say that other political parties who do not feel well carried along has the right to go to court if that's what they feel. But what we are seeing as independent observers, we feel that everything is going according to plan and it's going well, and the laws as we know them are being followed.
All right, just before we let you go, I was thinking we could get your thoughts on developments at the House of Reps, where we hear that the bill to create Aba State from the Southeast region has just yesterday passed its second reading.
I'm so sorry, network is so bad, I can't get you very clearly.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there and see if we can reconnect with you in the future. You know, this happens all the time. Technology has become the way of life, and we're going to improve more on that subsequently. That's our show today, everyone. Thanks for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.